This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hi, I'm Andros Jay, and today you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J. And it is a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Pacesetter, Andros Jay.
Hello.
How are you, Andros?
I'm very good, sir. How are you today?
I am good as well. Could you tell us what you got coming up and where we can find you on social media?
Oh, cool, yeah. So, all social media is at the handle Real Andros J. As of right now, there's not much going on because I'm currently injured, but some exciting news just for you guys, because I've not even announced this. Coming up on the 17th of this month will be the return of Andros Jay in Rochester, Kent, UK. For UKPW, it would be the first time UKPW see the tag team of myself and Ted Sabin, the Emo Trash Boys.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, you mentioned, and all of the links to all your social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Cool.
Right, now you mentioned that you wrestle for UKPW and Lockhorns Wrestling. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
Yeah, so Lockhorns Wrestling, I'm currently the reigning and defending champion, which is really cool for me. It's my first title that I've won. The guy that runs it, his name's Keith, who also I beat for the title, which is cool. But we met many years ago at a training school called SEPW that's closed down. It doesn't run anymore. But I met him so many years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And way back then we were said, it'd be so cool to have a match together. Our chemistry just works so well whenever we train. And then so many years down the line, I ended up facing him in his promotion for his main title. So, yeah, that's so cool. UKPW is one of my favourites to work for. They're such a great company. And I highly advise, if you're in the UK, especially the Kent area, go watch a UKPW show because they are so good. It's filled with so much good talent. One of the guys that run it, Alex, he's super, super cool. One of the coolest people to work for. And the other, his name's Jack Fenton, who was the first other trainee wrestler that I ever met in wrestling, which is so cool now because I now work for his company. So surreal that that's worked out somehow.
Now, you are the Lockhorns Wrestling Alliance champion, as you mentioned. What did it mean to you to capture your first singles championship?
You know, it's really cliche to say, but like everyone kind of gets that moment of like Shawn Michaels winning his title, and it's the boyhood dream has come true, and that's how it felt. And it sucks because I work as a heel, so to have that moment to keep a straight face and be, but deep side you're like screaming and you're gleaming with excitement. You're like, this is so cool. So like I've got to remain calm. No one can know how excited I am right now. But it means all your hard work's paying off, and it means someone trusts you. It's like, we trust this guy. We like the direction he's going with. Let's put the company on his back. It's really surreal. It's really, really is.
And this is this is your first run as a heel as well, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of a lot of first for you. So to kind of, I mean, the run that you was having as a before you got injured was quite impressive as well.
Yeah. It's really odd. That was the last match where I got injured. That was the last match I worked as a babyface. So I was coming to the end of my babyface run. Everywhere else, I was more or less working heel. And it's the last company. They're like, "You're turning heel. We just need you to do this one more as a babyface, and we're gonna look to heel turn you." Yep, cool, no problem. Do this last match as a babyface, and I end up getting injured.
Oh, what was the injury?
So my forearm bone, both bones of my forearm, I snapped through them both completely. Yeah, my opponent was more or less the other side of the ring, and the finish was a big crossbody to take him out. And as I jumped for the crossbody, I'm like, he's pretty far. I'm not sure if I'm going to make this. Lucky enough, I did make it, but I just came down more one side than the other, and I just completely went through the bones. But I'm still very proud of myself because I still finished the match. I won the match, and then I shot to that back as quick as I've ever got to the back room before. I was so quick to that dressing room, just holding my wrist. I'm like, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about, just I'm fine. But yeah, like once I've had surgery on it now, so it's feeling pretty good. It's been a few months since then, so things are getting back to normal. Hopefully.
That's fantastic. And obviously you have a upcoming date, so that's good as well. But what is it like? Because obviously you're on this fantastic run. You're working as a heel, and you won your first championship, and then it kind of all stops. What's your mindset after something like that?
Extremely frustrated. Really, really frustrated. It was the most amount of work I started having to flow in. A lot of new promotions starting to reach out to me. My tag team with my tag partner Ted was just about to get off the ground, and it just all got stopped. So I did one defense with the Lock-Ons title. Everywhere else, things were starting to pick up really nicely for me, and it just all just had to come to a halt. It's so frustrating. It's like all this hard work, and now I'm like, with the injury that I've had, it's a case of, for a lot of people, that's the end. Like, you won't come back from this. And there's still a percentage that might happen to me. I might have my next match back and be like, I can't do it no more. Like, I physically can't do it. But we'll find out when that time comes. I'll have to face that music. But it's just so frustrating because I've been injured before, and it's like the first thing that happens. It's like bang. It's like, I've let everyone down, and you put yourself in quite a bad place. I mean, not for everyone, but some people are very much of like, man, I've let the promoter down. I've let my tag partner down. I've let the fans down. Like, all these bookings I'm having to pull out of now, and it's really frustrating.
Right. Well, I mean, you can't blame yourself because, I mean, it's just, sometimes just accidents happen.
Yeah, absolutely. With my style, it's risk and reward, and sometimes the reward isn't as much as the risk, and sometimes the risk is a lot higher, which is crazy because I've done so much more crazier stuff than a simple crossbody off the top, and that's just the one that somehow managed to cop me.
Right. It's always the thing that we've done like a million times that is the one thing that gets us. It's not the 450, the 450s through the door, right?
Yeah, exactly that. I've done the hardcore matches. I've done the weapons matches. I've done my finishes as Swanton. I've done 450s. I've done all this stuff, and I've came away completely fine. And I did a crossbody and just completely just snapped my arm in half.
Right. All right. Now, one of the casualties of bad Andros Jay was Vickie Twothumbs. Why did you attack Vickie?
You know, that's funny. Yeah, Vickie and I are somewhat cool now. The fire has piped down. I suppose from the way I viewed it, I tagged for a long time with my brother Dominic King, and then we left the promotion to join another promotion. He kind of fizzled out for a bit, and then me and Vickie Twothumbs got thrown together. And I'm a firm believer that I made Vickie Twothumbs. I very much helped her get off the ground and kind of helped her become who she was, and kind of just tightened things up to make her a better wrestler. And I felt, for me personally, the fans were very, very, really cool. They loved us, but they always loved Vickie a little bit more, and it kind of got under my skin because I was doing all the high risk flippy stuff and she weren't doing much. So it was really frustrating because I'm like, well, I'm doing all this to risk my life, and you're all cheering me, but you'll like her a little bit more. And then when my stable Enigmatic got back together with Dominic came back with Eden, the spotlight was very much heavily shown on Vickie, and I didn't appreciate that. And then Eden left and Dominic left, which left us two again. And I was like, well, I'm going to take my opportunity and I'll take my frustrations and anger out on you.
How dare you?
I mean, it's all in good fun. I mean, we're all good now.
Right. Well, I mean, she was your best friend, damn it.
Yeah, but now I've got a new best friend, so it's all good.
Ooh, Vickie has been replaced.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think that's a great segue into telling us about your new tag team, the Emo Trash Boys with Ted Sabin.
Yes. Yeah, I love Ted. He's so cool. I think he's underappreciated on the British indie scene. More shows need Ted Sabin on them. He's just like a little daredevil. I love him. He's crazy. I first met Ted years ago at Dropkicks, and we bonded right away. We had a really good bond. And then during all the lockdown stuff, just towards the end of it coming out, I was like, hey, I need something to do. I'm getting quite bored of being a babyface. I've always done my better work in tag team stuff, and my brother Dominic is no longer in the wrestling business. He left, he got injured, and he's got kids now. And I'm like, well, that's him out of it. Eden Rice, who's my other tag partner, he'd also left wrestling at the time, but since now he's returned. So I'm like, I need someone to tag with. And then Ted crossed my mind, so I thought I'll shoot him a message and see what he responds with. And he was so down for it. I was like, cool, this is going to work. And since then, like, a lot of people want to face me in Ted, and a lot of promoters are reaching out to me in Ted, which is so cool. Yeah, we both got that style of the being emos, loving emo music, emo culture. We just bond really well. We get on really well.
What's a pet peeve about Ted that you just don't understand?
Oh, Ted's a strange man. He really is. I can't say I have a pet peeve about Ted. He is just Ted. He's very odd, but I love him for it. You know, I wouldn't change him at all. I would not change Ted whatsoever. Apart from a long time ago, I was actually in the same match as him, and he did a moonsault off the apron, and it looks like we probably wouldn't see Ted anymore. That was quite a risky one. So no moonsaults on apron. If I had to change one thing of him, make sure he never does that ever again, because it gave me heart failure.
And that's a good pet peeve to have, honestly.
Yeah, I want my partner to stay alive, funny enough, not to kill himself. And I suppose he could probably say the same thing about me, to be fair.
Right. And you mentioned, obviously Dominic King, Eden Rise, Vickie Twothumbs, Enigmatic. And it did seem like you guys were on course to do some really big things. From my perspective, it seemed like the pandemic was the thing that really shut that down. What?
Yeah, I would agree more or less with that. Dominic, unfortunately, just out of the pandemic, just before shows were running, training schools started opening up, but no real shows were happening. Dominic got an injury to his knee. He completely tore the ligaments in his knee, which really sucks. Really sucks because me and him have been day one together. And I always saw my ride always with Dominic. It was always going to be with him. We're going to make it to the top. We're going to make it to the big leagues together. And that was a really hard pill to swallow, to know that he's not going to be around anymore. And yeah, it just got to the point as well. Like Eden left the business. He was just like, right now isn't the right time for me to be doing this. I don't know if he'll be back. I might be back. I was like, well, I can't be having no flakiness. I've got to get rid of that. So it just left me and Vickie to be like, well, we're back to our original tag team of Tenacity again.
Okay. Now, excuse me. You competed in Germany. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was very surreal. That was very cool. The old, very old training school, which I won't name because it doesn't need any public sport talk on it. But back then, they set it all up. It was a week away in Germany, training under WXW, which is Gunther's school back then. And we did a week-long training seminar with Timothy Thatcher all week.
Oh, wow.
It was like three sessions a day, one in the morning, one midday, and then one in the evening, or something along those lines. And that was just so cool because it was just the first time doing something like that. It's like, oh, we're going abroad. Oh, okay, we're not going on holiday. We're going to a wrestling school of all things. And then to be with Timothy Thatcher and some of my other cool friends that were there at the time, really cool. And then right at the end, at some point, we did like a big tag match with us lot from the UK that went over against some of their German students. Pretty much got our asses kicked, but it was fun. It was very fun, although it was very battered and very bruised by the end of it.
Was there, in your opinion, did you see any difference culturally wise between the wrestling styles from the UK to Germany?
There wasn't that much of a difference, at least from my perspective. They hit quite hard, but I personally like that. I like to work a bit stiffer, a little bit harder. I like my strikes to hit me a bit harder. They were all really good guys. They were all really good. It makes me sound terrible, the fact I can't remember any of their names off the top of my head right now. But they were all really good. Really cool. Like we all got on, which was nice. No egos or anything.
I do have to ask, because we do love food on the show, what was you eating in Germany?
Probably, it wasn't the greatest of diets, I can tell you that for sure. We was pretty much left to fend for ourselves, so us, I think there's like 6, maybe 8 of us, fended out to the local German supermarket and just bought a load of crap. Not many of the boys actually really knew how to kind of cook, or at least cook well. Outside of wrestling, I'm also a qualified chef. So I know how to cook. I know how to look after the boys. So at least for me and Dominic, I was cooking me and Dominic some good meals, all the chicken, rice, and pasta, or whatever it was that he wanted that day. I just kind of did what he wanted and whatever it was that he bought.
You're like a chef.
Yeah, a chef and a baker. I've done both. Obviously, as of right now, not doing a whole lot because of the broken arm thing. But right. I've done both.
What's your specialty?
Man, it's hard to say. I like making Mexican food. That's probably one of my favorites. Obviously, British people know him to be very bland and boring. So it's very bit of a surprise. But he's British and he likes making spicy food with spices and herbs and stuff. But yeah.
Is there anything that's like has challenged you in cooking?
One of the places I used to work, they used to do like this curry Thursday or some stupid thing like that, and nearly every Thursday it was just myself in the kitchen, no one else, and that used to be extremely stressful and challenging. Every Thursday it used to be. It would just be myself, like no pot washer, no nothing. It would just be me. I'd be running around every station like a headless chicken, trying to get everything out.
Yeah, that does not sound fun.
No, not in the slightest. It was extremely stressful. I don't know why I put up with that place in the end. Like, I've left since, but I don't know why I stayed.
But I mean, is there like a dish that you tried to make that was maybe more challenging than others?
Usually it's like if there's a lot of stuff going on. That's where I kind of get annoyed. If there's just loads of stuff going on, or there's too many measurements, there's too many parts to a dish, I get quite frustrated with that sort of stuff. I'm like, I can't be asked. It's taking too long now. I'm very impatient, extremely impatient. So when it came to bacon, it was like, Andros, leave this alone. Do not touch it. I was like, I've got to. I was like, I can't. It's like it's winding me up. How long I have to wait for this to prove, or how long for this to do this? It's like it's winding me up. So usually stick me on a station by myself, like do this, occupy yourself. So I felt like a 3-year-old with crayons half the time.
Alright. Let's get into Andros Jay's bizarre adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely been a few of those. God, where do we start? That's the thing. Myself and Dominic many years ago. Well, starting with the Germany one. The day coming back from Germany, I had to leave a day earlier because of my work was being funny about it, and I left Germany by myself at like 6 a.m, went straight to the airport, navigated my way through a German airport to get back to England, to then catch a ride straight to my work, which was about an hour, 2-hour ride. And I got there, they're like, "Why are you late?" And I'm like, I was in Germany this morning, bro. Like, you know exactly where I've been and what I've been doing. That one was really weird, to be like wrestling first thing in the morning in Germany, and next thing I know, I'm stood back in the bakery again. And that's also happened to me and Dominic. We've gone out, did a training / wrestling show in Rochester in England, and decided we'd be like, oh, we might as well celebrate and go out the evening with all the other wrestlers. We did that and then missed our last train home. So then we just decided to kick it around, just wait around to the very next train. And then caught the very next train straight back into work, both of us, which that day added on to a 9-hour shift weren't feeling too nice. Not at all. There's been so many. That's the thing. There's so much that happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So much. One of the companies I don't work for no more, there's a lad that got brought in for a friend of mine to face, and it didn't work out too well for him, and he got absolutely annihilated. And we're all looking up he got kicked out of the venue that we was in, and he'd spent his entire wage that he had with him just getting absolutely wasted. And we're just looking out the window, and he's just there, like, waving around. He's never been in this city before, this town we're in. He's never been there. He doesn't have a clue where he is. His phone's dead. His suitcase that he brought with him to the venue is in the venue that we're in, but they won't let him back in because he's too plastered. and we're like waiting to go on the manhunt, and he's just sat outside the venue waving at us. That was like the most up and down day ever. It was like, oh my god, like we're gonna find this guy in a ditch, we're gonna find him in the lake, like oh my god. And then another one, we wrestled at a pub, like a pub show, like a charity event. And as I came out the entranceway, I'm like, yeah, come on. And all I can hear is these quacks. I'm like, what? I turn and there's like just a pond filled with ducks in it. I'm like, I've never been to a wrestling show where I've wrestled in front of people and a live audience of ducks before. That was a first. That was a first for me. And it wasn't even the first time. I did that show a few more times after that because I just found it so funny. It's like, I can't say no to the duck place. It's just,
So there's like a duck pond in the bar?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like you had the pub, and then out the back was like a beer garden where we were, and there's cooking a barbecue in like the left, and then the far right was like just a pond with ducks and a duck house. And I just come out the entranceway. I'm like, whack, 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 whack. I'm like, what the hell? It was like, there's ducks. And I was like, oh my god, this is going to be a day. I can already feel it.
I'm surprised nobody disturbed the ducks because ducks could be quite mean.
Yeah, they weren't really fussed by us, to be fair. They didn't care too much for Andros Jay that day, apparently.
Yeah, just another emo trash boy.
Pretty much. They took one look at him and was like, look at that stupid redhead with eyeliner. We're going to leave him alone.
Alright, that's definitely some bizarre encounters you've had, for sure.
Yeah, there's some odd ones.
Now, you were on my side of things, and during the Enigmatic days, you had a podcast. Could you tell us about the Enigmatic Podcast?
Yeah, so it came from us wanting to expand the name and kind of get ourselves out there a little bit more. And podcasts were like popping off. And I thought, a lot of wrestling fans know the wrestler, but how well do they really know the wrestler? And you can go to like Chris Jericho's podcast or, all the other big names wrestling podcasts out there, but you won't get like your local guys. Like you won't get like your local guys on those sort of podcasts. Like not at all. Like there's not many places that do that.
Right.
So I thought, well, maybe if we were to do it, because we're friends with most of these guys, like, is there any chance we'll jump on this podcast with us and just, then the local fans, they know a little bit more about you, they connect with you more, and, other promotions might reach out and stuff like that. So it's just all about expanding all the time. That was the idea behind it. And then it kind of changed all over the place. We were talking about conspiracy theories and then talking about different movies and stuff. So I think it just got to a point of like, let's get together and have a chat. That's how it felt. 'Cause we all came round to my kitchen, living room area. We sat down and we're like, right, today's topic's this. Go, and just slap the record button and see what happens.
And you did have some fun episodes. Obviously, you had 2 episodes about conspiracy theories. One about video games, movies. And they were all like really interesting conversations for sure. Yeah.
Dominic was obsessed with Mothman at one point, and I'd always send out a text message to the group chat, and I'm like, think it might be fun to do conspiracy theories. Do your own research. You've got this amount of days to get it done. This is when we're recording, and they'd done it. And he came in up to me, he was these wide eyes. He was like, man, I've got to tell you guys about Mothman, like Mothman. I'm like, okay, you can do Mothman. Like no one else will do Mothman story. He's yours. He's like, sick. He was like so excited to tell everyone about Mothman, which just was so funny at the time.
What was the conspiracy theory that really threw you off? Like you couldn't believe?
I think I liked the Mothman one. I will admit, like, the way that he did it was really good. I felt it was quite interesting about the Montreal screw job. Obviously, it being a work. No, it's not a work. It is a work, and there's so many different, so many different versions out there. So many different stories that have been told by different people. And it's like, well, the only people that really know the truth is like Vince, Sean, Brett, and the referee. Right. And even then, it's different stories every time you ask them. So,
So you don't believe that John Cena is a clone?
Well, possibly. He's he's done a lot, that man. He's done a lot. He comes back from injury rather quickly.
He does.
He does. I might need to borrow one of his clones at some point. Got a red wig on eyeliner, right, and somehow I've grown a few feet and be like, there he is. Go and make me some money, kid.
And you actually interviewed a couple of wrestlers. I feel like the most notable one being Ted Sabin.
Yeah.
Interviewing, other wrestlers, did that give you maybe any introspective about your own career?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know why. Like, when I interviewed the other wrestlers, it was always supposed to be I do one, and then either Dominic, Vickie, or Eden did one. It just always worked out that I ended up doing them. And it used to make me so nervous, and I have no clue why, because most of these guys are my friends, and we're good friends, especially to this day. Like, a lot of them we're good friends with. And I'd be so nervous, and I'd be like, oh man, like, this is going to suck. I hate every minute of this. But then it's like, well, how well truly do I actually know my friend? Like, there's some stuff that, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there'd be things that the brother had told me, or things that Ted's told me, and some of the other guys, they'd tell me something. I'm like, I didn't actually know that about you. We're learning things about each other here. That's cool. And I always loved it, like, especially the Ted one. A lot of the times, it wasn't much of an interview. It became a conversation between me and him.
Right.
And it was like, you turned, it's almost like walking into the locker room and me and Ted just having a casual chat. And you're just overhearing what we're saying. It's just asking a few questions here and there.
Now, personally, I really enjoy the Enigmatic Podcast. Do you think we'll ever see a resurrection or a different version of it in the future?
You know what? I was talking to Vickie about this today, actually. And she was asking about how my arm is and stuff, and I'm like, this and that. I've had a few bits and pieces to do with it, and I'm like, if things aren't good and it's looking like I'm gonna have to retire this old wrestling stuff, there's a very good possibility I might restart it again. Maybe see if the guys are interested. If not, I'm more than happy to branch out on my own and do the rest, because I used to do all the editing, I did all the recording, so most of it was me. It's just those guys had to show up most of the time. So it was more or less, I felt very much of a like, this is the Andros podcast with either Vickie, Eden, and Dominic. So I'd say never, for sure.
Alright. And I get that, because I'm really, like, I have 2 to 3 other co-hosts, and I'm the only one recording, I'm the only one editing, I'm the only one uploading.
Yeah, I feel for you, brother. I really do. And it's like, pull your weight. Come on, hurry up. Do something.
Well, I've been doing this for 4 years at this point, so it's kind of like my brain just knows what to do at this point. Like, okay, this goes here, cut this goes into this place, upload at this time. Cut. All I'm gonna say is thank God for copy and paste. Like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank God for that.
Absolutely makes life so much easier.
Yeah, and YouTube has like more features that have like copy and paste features, and it's just very much appreciated.
Nice.
Alright, can you tell us about your love of Spirited Away?
Yes, Spirited Away. I love this movie so much. I love it so much. It is more or less hands down one of my favourite movies, or just of all time. it's just something about it to me. It's so breathtakingly beautiful. Just every aspect of the film is done so well, and obviously the studio that makes it, all their films are fantastic. But for me, Spirited Away is without a doubt one of my top 3 favorite films of all time. Just the story is so beautiful, the artwork is fantastic, the song, One Summer's Day, it gives me goosebumps, it gives me chills. I love it so much, and especially if I'm really stressed or I feel really anxious about something, I can slap that song on and it just completely takes me away. And obviously I'm an emo kid, you know, like I love my MCR, my Bring Me Horizon, I love all that stuff, and then I'm sitting there listening to this to try and calm me down or something. It really is. It's, if you haven't watched it, I urge people out there to watch that film. It's so beautiful and it's so good.
Oh yeah, you're definitely preaching to the choir. I love Spirited Away as well. It was one of my top anime movies, but obviously a couple of new ones came out over the last couple of years as well.
Yeah.
That being said, you said that you like Studio Ghibli. How did you feel about the newer one? I believe the one that just recently came out was Suzume.
I've not seen it, in all honesty. I've not seen it. Yeah, I sometimes I get very much caught up in a lot of other things, and my mind's all over the place most of the time. Especially with ADHD traits, I'm all over the place most of the time. So to be able to sit there and watch a film is a miracle most of the time, in all fairness, because you've got to get my attention. If you've got my attention, you've got it. But if you don't, I'm all over the place. Yeah, I wasn't even aware. I don't think I was even aware it came out, to be fair with you.
Came out like a month or two ago?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've been very much like, I'm either very good with being on everything, especially like on social media, phones, internet, news-wise, or I just completely disassociate completely. And with the injury, I've been very much of leave me alone. I want nothing to do with anyone. Just leave me alone. So I the half the world could have blown up. I wouldn't have had the foggiest of clues because I wouldn't have been paying any attention to any news or anything. I've been living in my own world, in my own house, happy as could be.
Is it just the anime movie Studio Ghibli, or are you watching the anime series as well?
I've watched. I dabble in anime. I like Sword Art Online. I like Death Note, My Hero, Seraph of the End. A lot of those I've really really enjoyed. Attack on Titans as well. I've watched most of them, and I really really love them. Especially Death Note. I really love Death Note.
Oh yeah. Death Note's definitely one of the more well done animes, I would say. Just
absolutely.
Story wise, just French kiss.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. It's one of the first. So the first anime I properly watched was Sword Art Online, and I quite liked that. And then my cousin was like, "You have to watch this. You're really gonna like it." I'm like, "Nah." It was like, "Just trust me on this." I'm like, "Nah." And he shows me the first episode, and I wasn't really getting into it. He was like, "Just trust me on this. You're gonna get into it."
You have to watch episode 2.
Yeah. I then started watching episode 2, and then I was like, "Oh man, I gotta get home." But I was so into it. It's like the next day I went and watched the box. I went and bought the box set, and I just binge watched the whole lot. I'm like, that was worth every penny. I loved it.
Should L have been the one that discovered Kira?
Yeah, it's just everything about it I just loved. It's just done so well. From all the deaths and then the twists, the turns, the plot. It's so good. It really draws you in. Even Vickie, I showed it to Vickie, and she is not an anime person. She does not like. It's not that she doesn't like anime. She's just not big on it. And that's the first one I got her down to properly watch, and even she turned around, she was like, I really like this is really good. So I think Death Note's a really good one for people to get into.
Yeah, should have asked Vickie about Death Note.
She probably won't have a clue what you're talking about half the time, but she'll act as if she definitely does.
Are you caught up on Attack on Titan and My Hero?
My Hero, yes. Attack on Titan, no. I've got a bit behind on that. But My Hero, I've caught up on.
Well, we won't talk about Attack on Titan. Don't want to add any spoilers because some crazy shit goes down for sure.
Okay.
So, what was your thoughts on season 5? Because some people liked it, some people didn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time people bitch and moan for the sake of bitching and moaning, I personally enjoyed it. I really did. I think some people just they find things to not like, and obviously you're gonna have some seasons stronger than other seasons. Like I'm a massive Power Ranger fan. There's some seasons of Power Rangers that are just not good. They're just not good. They don't live up to the other seasons, and it's the same as any other show that you like. Some seasons are going to be slightly weaker than others to get to the best. Sometimes it's filler, sometimes it's to kind of push the story forward, and then you're going to get that next season. It's going to be like, holy shit, that was so good! It was so worth watching that other crap season. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes like, some more crap, fantastic, great, just what I needed.
Oh,
That was a waste of time. But it doesn't always work out that way.
I mean, when that happens, you just drop it. Honestly.
Yeah, you have to learn to stop clinging on. Sometimes it's best to let go, as they say.
Yes. And I mean, season 6 was absolutely, definitely what we waited for.
There you go. See, point proven.
Can you tell us about if there's any significance to the tattoo on your chest? Be strong until the end.
Yeah. I get quite a few comments about this, and for me, it's always like, like people say, "Oh, don't quit, don't give up." Something similar to that. Like we all have our own mental struggles. Like mental health is very serious and it needs to be taken seriously. And for my aspect, for me personally, it's with my own struggles. It's reminding myself that at one point in my life there was little Andros, so there's little child Andros, and he dreamed of becoming a Power Ranger, a professional wrestler, a stuntman, wherever it was he dreamed of. And that is a possibility. There is a point in your life that can become a possibility. It can become a reality, but you need to work your ass off to get to that point. The only person that's going to say no to you is yourself, and it's kind of reminding me, like, be strong to the end. Like, don't give up, keep pushing forward. And it's the same as when for example, here, it's quite a good one that's happened recently. When I broke my arm, the first immediate thought was, oh my god, this is so goddamn painful. Just lay here, let's wait for the medic to come over. And then it's like that little inner voice in my head, it's like, come on man, this is not who we are. Like, finish the goddamn match. Like, finish the match. Like, you owe it to all these people have paid their money. That this dad in the crowd just worked 40, 50 hours a week, to earn enough money to then put that money aside for him and his children to come and watch you, and you specifically, because they're fans of you. You owe that to them. So for me, it's always like, yeah, like, just keep pushing through. Just keep pushing through. But I also, to add to that, like, give yourself a break. Don't be too mean to yourself. And that's why, be strong to the end is very much of, be kind to yourself, but don't give up. Never give up.
That is awesome. Now, you've mentioned it a couple times. Can you tell us about your love of Power Rangers?
I love it. I love it so much. I really do. I think I was about what 4 when I probably first fell in love with it, and it's just become it's just stayed with me ever since. Those that know Power Rangers, I've said multiple times that the name Andros comes from Power Rangers. It's a character in there. He's a Red Ranger from the In Space team. Even to the point, like my favorite Ranger of all time is called Rocky. He's played by Steve Cardenas. I have a tattoo of his character on my leg, which is really cool. And then that character, Rocky or Steve, his first UK con when he was moving over here a while ago. Just so happened to be like the next town over from where I live in Chatham. The con was in Chatham, so I went to go meet him. I'm like, holy shit, this is my childhood hero here. Like, this is so dope. Like, this is so cool. He was like, hi man, nice to meet you. I'm like, no, it's nice to meet you. I'm like fanboy as hell. And he's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a professional wrestler. And like, he was so psyched. Like, he's like, oh, that's so fucking cool, man. That's so cool. Goes to fist bump me. And just like practically stacks it over the table. And I'm like, oh my god, I've just made my childhood hero fall over. Like, oh my god, what do I do? But yeah, like, it's so cool because there's another pro wrestler out there, John Tavius. He wrestles out in Canada. He also comes to the UK and wrestles there. And he's got a massive love for Power Rangers. And the first time I met him, he was wearing like gear inspired by the character that I named myself after. And it's like, you're Andros, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, just by any chance, did you get that from Power Rangers? I'm like, maybe. And I look at his gear, I'm like, I see you, John. It's so cool. It's like, like there's a lot of guys in wrestling who love Power Rangers as well, and a lot of us are like, well, being a Power Ranger won't a reality. We'll become pro wrestlers instead. You still get to wear lycra.
Exactly. It's kind of like the best alternative to actually being a Power Ranger.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're a babyface as well, because you're just like, it's like the feeling of being a superhero. Like, you win that match as a babyface, and you've defeated the villain, and all the kids, the crowd screaming, and then it's like the coolest feeling ever. Like, being a heel was really, really cool. I love being a heel, but also working face is just as cool.
Alright, I think it's time for the colossal question. You're making a movie about Andros Jay. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on the Andros Jay movie soundtrack up to this point?
Okay, so let's go with this. So, the very first song would be "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue.
Okay.
That inspired all of the Enigmatic stuff. That was very much me and Dominic King. We loved Motley. Motley were our boys. We loved Motley. And that inspired the entire Enigmatic sort of franchise that was doing. But we all became, even I pulled Vickie in, and Vickie became a hardcore Motley fan afterwards. We brainwashed him with Motley Crue. The second song is a tough one between an I Prevail song, but I'm gonna have to go with "Na Na Na" by My Chemical Romance, which is the entire. It's very emo MCR, but also it inspired the whole babyface character of Andros Jay. That was the entrance music he used, and that inspired me so much creatively. Is seeing that the whole album, but that song in particular. And then to wrap it up, we'll go with currently "Nightmares" by Palais Royale. That's why I'd say Chef's Kiss.
Alright, solid 3 picks there. Now that we got the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you might make the script, and then you start casting. Who would play Andros Jay? And you can't say yourself because you're obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh God, who would I get to play me? I mean, I would like, no, I would like almost for like a musician to play me, almost.
Ooh.
Like I think someone like Ronnie Radke could be a sick Andros Jay, or like an Andy Biersack, but like Ronnie Radke would be my choice. Even though he's not an actor per se, but if I want someone with the right attitude, the right look, it would be someone like Ronnie Radke. Like that would be my Andros Jay. Would be Ronnie Radke. But actor wise, like just throwing it out there, and like, yeah, like if I had to pick an actual actor, let's say just to throw it out there, just for like shits and giggles. His name has slipped my mind, which is now going to frustrate the heck out of me. But the guy who played Ant-Man, I love him. Like he's ageless. He doesn't age.
Paul Rudd.
That's the guy. Paul Rudd. I would have Paul Rudd play me because why not? I love that man.
That would work. Love Paul Rudd as well.
Give him some eyeliner and red hair. He'd look sick.
Now that we got Andros casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people in your movie, and who would play them?
Let's go with. We'd have Ted Sabin in there. We'll have him played by Kellen Quinn.
Okay.
Let's have. We've got to throw the Twothumbs idiot in there. I mean, she's everywhere, but she's so good. Like Margot Robbie could probably play good Vickie Twothumbs, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, she'll be alright, I suppose. And then lastly, I think my boy Dominic King, he would have to be in there. And I always said he looks like the musician will.i.am, so I'm gonna make him play Dominic King because they look alike. So I'm like, give him a top knot. He'll look like Dominic King.
Okay. And this is sounding like a fantastic movie. Obviously, casting is up to par. You could pre-order the tickets now.
I would.
And considering Vickie's is going to be in your movie, is there any chance that Vickie will be joining the Emo Trash Boys?
Oh no, we're gonna bury her.
How dare you, so?
Me and Ted's gonna make the ultimate emo Megazord and take her down. Her and her Two-Thumb army. She's gonna be the villain in my story.
Alright, now you are from the UK, so I do have 2 UK exclusive questions. The first one being, KFC or Nando's?
Oh, KFC. Nando's isn't built up to the hype that everyone says. Trust me. KFC's much better.
Okay. And is the greatest person to ever be knighted Patrick Stewart?
Oh, he's an X-Men, of course.
Damn straight.
There we go. Can't say no to Professor X.
Definitely. Alright, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I'm a big pizza guy, but personally it's not for me. Not really.
So you are anti-pineapple on pizza?
You could say that. Yes.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Pokemon, yeah. So, like, my favorite Pokemon of all time is Suicune. I love Suicune. But I gotta say, like, I feel like I'm like deep within me, deep in the guts. I think I'm a bit of a squirtle.
Oh, sweet. We love the
I'm a
qualities.
I'm a little Squirtle squad warrior. I think that's what I am.
With the glasses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's me, rocking them out.
Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for THUG? THUG.
No?
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for Jill. Because a thug can't spell.
Hmm.
Yes, we love the late great Tracy, trying to keep the memory alive.
I love that. Always, always, always. Never forgotten.
Oh yeah. And
No, no.
the weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual rock.
Would I wrestle an actual rock?
Yes.
I mean, you know what? It's probably got more talent than half the people I've wrestled, in all fairness. Um, you know what? If people in Japan can wrestle a black doll and give a good match, I reckon me and The Rock can put on a pretty decent match. Absolutely. Why not?
Well, there is this, for context, there is this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual rock for over 15 minutes in what was dubbed a Tungsten Man match. An Arm Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
That's incredible. I love Iron Man matches.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unfortunately, he did not win that match. The Rock retained the World Championship.
Oh my god.
On
Well,
a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
hopefully wrestling still. I hate keep coming back to this injury, but it's one that's copped me. It's copped me good. I'm hoping that in 5 years, the injury's fine. It's well in the past now. I'm not even thinking about it. Me and Ted have got loads of success as singles wrestlers and definitely as a tag team. I want anyone in the UK to be able to go to a show and see my face on every show they go to. Doesn't matter what show you're on, you're going to see me there. And the same as all my friends, there's as much as we laugh and joke and point stuff at each other. I want all the success for them, because without them, there would be no Andros Jay. We all bring each other up together. We all expand on one another. We all give each other that. And I want success for everyone,
Right. I think you forgot somewhere in there of a tenacity regroup.
Yes.
And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Andros Jay is all about?
God. Okay, so there's a few out there. Andros Jay versus Ted Sabin, or Tag Partner vs Tag Partner. That's already good. Go watch that wherever it is. Search on YouTube. Andros Jay versus Taylor James. He's one half of the Rebellion. Super sick. The Rebellion are one of the best tag team in the UK, and how they have not been snapped up yet, I do not know. Honest to God, I do not know. Two others, Andros Jay versus Keith Chaos for the Lock-On's World title. Crazy match, loads of weapons, pedigree to the floor on the outside, sick stuff. And then Andros Jay versus the legend, the veteran who has travelled all over the world. He's been in TNA, Ring of Honor, Johnny Storm. That is an incredible match, so go check those out.
Alright, and I will put one or two of those matches in the description of the video below for on the cast box for anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Yes.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Mm.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Yeah, why not?
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
For me, Jeff Hardy.
Worst wrestler.
See, I do not rate Mojo Rawley. I thought he was an idiot.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Is this people who are currently in WWE?
Anybody that you want.
Anyone? If there's anyone I ever wanted, it'd be Jeff Hardy.
Okay. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Jeez. So either got to be the Hardys or it's got to be Edges. Like Edges, he would be so sick. It'd be so cool.
But which Edge is one?
Current one.
Okay. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
What was that?
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
No clue.
Alright. And we would have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
See, if it's UK, squash is not technically a drink.
That's right. I forgot about that.
See, I tricked you. Third option. So squash, it's a drink.
But what is that drink made of? A vegetable or fruit?
Yeah, it's like a fruit drink, yeah.
And technically, squash is a fruit, so that is correct.
Mm.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
No idea.
Like, full coverage, half coverage, a quarter coverage.
I mean, it depends how badly you want to be booked, in all fairness. I mean, if you really want the booking, you've got to show cheek, you know what I mean? If you respect yourself, you cover up. But if you want those bookings, you've got to cheek it out.
Okay. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I have not.
And that is the correct answer.
Yay, I win!
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Andros, for coming on and doing this with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
And once again, where can we find all things Andros Jay on social media and your merchandise?
You can find me on @RealAndrosJ on all socials. Merchandise on any show that you see my face on in the UK. If not, you can DM me on one of those and I can ship them out to people.
Oh, and you don't have to even type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all your social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you're on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
Absolutely. I need it. I broke my arm. Feel bad for me.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, vote on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and 401 Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Riley Rose, and obviously next Tuesday and Wednesday new interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling Evil on Twitter and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, Andros, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
What was that?
When I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment. Okay?
Yes, sir.
For our very special guest Andros Jay, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.